Peter, interesting news coming through this morning from all angles. There's a homecoming revolution taking place. It's being driven by the passion and in being encouraged by South Africans abroad to come home, creating a community of like-minded, we're told, global citizens with a sincere love for South Africa. I'm going to debate that a little. Why did we leave if we love South Africa so much? Anyway, the initiative showcases jobs, instills patriotism, provides expats with tips for moving, and strongly encourages them to inculcate the ethos of entrepreneurship. It's rolling into Africa through global events, and key marketing activities are being planned. So there's a lot going on. In the studio with us now, we have the managing partner of Homecoming Revolution. He is Mr. Bruce Mubayiwa. Thank you so much for joining us. Please help me understand precisely what this means and who it's for.
Homecoming Revolution is there to help Africans who want to move back to the continent so that they can play a part in the growth of Africa. So for some time we've seen the excitement around Africa in terms of the growth opportunities, the economies that are booming.
Yeah.
And we are saying it's time for Africa to get its skills back. It's time for Africans to return home.
What are some of the reasons why these Africans have left, though?
Basically, people have left for various reasons. Some of the reasons include better opportunities, or maybe just the need to see what life is like outside. Maybe go and work for a developed economy, get a chance to save some money and come back and try and make a difference.
Let's speak about South Africa specifically. Who is it that seems the most excited about coming home to South Africa?
It's varied, but we'd say most likely those who are in areas where there is a specific demand for skills. For instance, those in the IT sector, construction, the engineers, the planners. We think there are a lot of opportunities for such people. And basically, I think when people see the opportunity to come home, usually triggered by personal events in their lives, such as a marriage or even having kids, you find that there's a lot of excitement to come back to South Africa.
Now, you know, we come out of a very challenging past where many South Africans, and mainly, I'm going to say the largest majority of them being white South Africans, having left not for skills and not for, but simply because we were going through a transition, for example, from a white government to a black government and so on. And I'm interested to know how many of those South Africans are trying to make their way home.
Quite a number, actually. I might not be able to quote the exact number, but I would say as of 2008, we've had at least 359,000 South Africans coming back home. So we think that maybe those people who had fears initially about the situation in South Africa, they've been reassured by developments in South Africa that there is a lot of potential and they've got a part to play in the growth of the country.
A part to play in the growth of South Africa. However, we have unemployment in almost every sector within our economy. So what type of jobs are they coming home to? Are there opportunities in South Africa?
Definitely there are opportunities. We've got a number of sectors. We've got construction. We've actually got a shortage of engineers, regional town planners, etc. So we think that such positions and such opportunities, they are there that exist for people to come back. But we say, don't complain about the problems back home. Come and make it better.
Don't complain about the problems, come and make them better. And are they?
Definitely. I believe that things are looking up.
So, ideally, this is not a South African issue and it's not a South African endeavor. You, in fact, are attempting to bring Africans back to the continent to redevelop and reshape it.
Exactly. I would say when we started, the focus was on South Africa. But what we've now started doing is looking at a number of countries. So that's South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and Uganda. And we're saying these are the countries that we're initially focusing on. And in terms of the Expo that we'll be having in March, we're looking at the opportunities in these countries. We're looking at the business opportunities. We're saying to Africans in the diaspora, come back home, see what's happening, and be a part of the journey.
How long does it take to reintroduce someone back into the systems of South Africa?
It varies from person to person, and I would say before one makes the move, they actually have to do some planning around it. And that's one area where we can definitely help to say, okay, let's say you're looking at moving within a year's time. What are the things that you should be looking at? Come down to 6 months. 3 months. So there'll be, a checklist of things that you need to attend to so that, it's as smooth as possible when you make the transition.
So how long has the organization been in existence? How long have you been trying to get people back home?
We've been in existence since 2003. Initially, we're an NPO, non-profit making, but now it's a profit-making company.
And your main aim was always to get Africans to get home. I'm sorry, I'm a little cynical about it because it's as though you had to convince people that their home was good enough to return to.
They say there is no place like home, and certainly
Yeah.
Africa is no exception. That's been the case since we started, trying to play an active role in repatriating skills back to Africa.
In terms of what it is that is going to be needed for us to move forward into the future, I'm assuming that the high commissions, the embassies overseas are playing a role in the marketing of the opportunity for South Africans to come and play a fundamental role when they get home.
Oh, definitely. In the countries where we're focusing on, we make sure that we are in regular contact with the embassies, and especially like with the Expo, we're making sure that we're engaging with the high commissions, with the embassies, because they're in a very good position to reach out to their nationals.
Right, and of course this particular Expo is in the UK, which I believe has the largest number of South Africans who have settled.
Yes, there is quite a large number of South Africans who have gone there, correct.
Over a long period of time. Tell us more about the Expo and who you're trying to attract.
So the Expo, we're trying to attract corporates. So we're looking at the big companies that want to showcase their employer brand, the companies that have got opportunities in South Africa, and they're looking at talent that has got international experience and exposure.
You see, now this is where I understand, and I love what you're trying to do, but this is where I almost, my wires become a little confused, because what you're saying is that South African companies, corporates, will then go and showcase themselves in the UK. Is that correct?
Yes, but there are already companies with a presence in the UK.
In order to showcase themselves to their countrymen, to convince them to come and work back home.
Yes, so there'll be a number of areas, for instance, in property, they'll talk about the career opportunities. Basically, it's about showing the excitement that's happening back home in South Africa.
What if we don't want them home?
I'm sure we want them home.
No, I'm just surprised that we need to convince them that, there is enough opportunity for them in order for them to get on a plane and come and settle back in South Africa.
Well, one thing which may help is that of those people who come to the Expo, quite a number decide to actually come back home, and a good number are actually able to secure opportunities.
Okay, all right. And of course it's a big move because it's about moving your life as every expat needs to do so. You're talking about expats, though. Expats are people who have gone out in search of work, who have been given contracts in foreign countries and have taken income based on those contracts. We're not talking about people who willingly decided to leave South Africa with their families.
To be honest, it covers everyone who has left South Africa, whether those who saw opportunities or who left for adventure, whatever reason. We're saying once you've gone overseas, Africa still needs you. We'll gladly have you back anytime.
It's also interesting because you look at a country like Zimbabwe, for example,
Correct.
Lost a huge amount of their expertise, their skills and human capital, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Where is a home for them now, out there, if they came back into the continent?
Personally, I think that being Zimbabwean myself, we've become global citizens going all over the world. But I seriously believe that there is still a great role for Zimbabweans to come back to their country and play an active role in building the economy. So I think home is where the heart is.
Yes.
And you may have spent even 10 years overseas, but if you still feel that your heart is here in Africa, that will always be home for you.
How do you think, and how long do you think it'll take for Zimbabwe to get to a point where you yourselves, as Zimbabweans, will be able to go and do precisely what it is that you're endeavoring to do in South Africa? Because for as long as I can remember, it was called the breadbasket of Africa.
Indeed.
And people would love for it to return to that status.
I believe, having been to Zimbabwe quite a number of times over the past year, that Zimbabwe is on the rise, as a country. And personally, I'm very optimistic. And I would say within the next 5 to 10 years, I see Zimbabwe getting to an exciting level in terms of development.
Of having Zimbabweans return.
I believe so.
And play a good role in it. Which are the other countries where you're beginning to see quite an influx of citizens returning to their homelands?
I believe, Nigeria will always have the big numbers. For a long time we've had Nigerians, all over the world, but it's one of the most exciting places to be right now. And if you look at some of the economies as well, like Ethiopia, doing very well in terms of growth. And I certainly think that wherever Africans are in the diaspora, they should always make an effort to just touch base with what's happening back home so that they ensure they never miss out.
In a country like Nigeria, what are the sectors or the work sectors, the employment sectors that are the most attractive to Nigerians coming home? Do we know?
I'll say Nigeria, oil and gas, energy has always been, a big issue and, a big area. And I think we'll always have opportunities. But I also think Nigeria is starting to go into even areas like construction and IT. It's such a big economy with so much happening there. Especially if you look at the innovation in the technology space, you can really see that Nigerians are taking it to another level.
We have Bruce Mubayiwa in the studio with us. He's the managing partner of the Homecoming Revolution, an organization who is in fact having a large meeting in the UK during the month of March, attempting to, I guess, remarket Africa to Africans in an assurance that they'll come home and rebuild the continent. Of course, in a country like South Africa, it's difficult, considering that there are many reasons why people left. They left because we were going through difficulties during apartheid. They left because we were going through a new democratic process where governments were now changing hands from being white to being black. People left because opportunities were just not available. So it would interesting to see the dynamic of all the individuals who do come through to forums such as this and who do make Africa their home again. Right now, though, let's take a look at the weather across the country on this day.